Pokémon Journeys is one of the most controversial Pokémon series in the entirety of the franchise. Whether you love or hate it, you can't deny that it's caused quite a bit of a stir online. Pokémon Journeys was set as a journey throughout the Pokémon world, with Ash and Go having the world at the palm of their hands, yet they failed to deliver. Now, it's without a doubt that a certain worldwide event that caused many issues everywhere definitely derailed the series, with there even being a pretty long hiatus at some point quite early onto the show. But what I want to talk about today happened even after that. Pokémon Journeys blessed us with two main characters, Ash Ketchum and Go. Go doesn't have a last name yet revealed, but I guess his name should be Ketchum and Ash should be more like Battlem. Anyways, Ash's main goal, which was established quite early on, was to participate in the World Coronation series and fight his way up the ranks to one day become the strongest trainer in the world. And spoiler alert, he totally did that. Go's goal was to catch Mew, but his dream was to catch every Pokemon. And spoiler alert, he didn't do either. But he did catch Mew in his hand for like a second, so I guess we can count that. Go's main journey throughout this anime was something called Project Mew. Now, just like the World Coronation series had infinite potential for matchups with Ash, Project Mew also had a lot of possibilities for trial missions. I'll be making a video discussing my thoughts and breaking down the World Coronation series, so if that interests you, make sure to like and subscribe as it will be coming out pretty soon. Also, I'm close to 50k, so help your boy out. Back to Project Mew, this was something that I honestly actually really enjoyed up until the end at least. They started off with a bang and every episode that was focused around it wasn't bad, but the ending was just, let's forget about it. In today's video, I want to recap the events of Project Mew and then give a few things I would have done differently, including an alternate ending. Project Mew was first introduced to Ash and Go in Pokémon Journeys episode 68, Advice to Go, where Gary made his first appearance in Pokémon since the Diamond and Pearl series. I remember this being a monumental time to be a fan of the show, and it didn't disappoint. This episode was also great because Ash and Infernape battle against a Moltres. Well, after this battle with the legendary bird, it drops a feather and Gary collects it and makes a phone call and gets himself a token. Professor Oak reveals that Gary is taking part in Project Mew and finding the Moltres feather was apparently his trial mission, whatever that is. Gary does what Gary does best and taunts Go that it was best that he didn't join Project Mew with his current skill level, which of course swiftly prompts Go to join. Not only will this be a way for him to improve as a trainer, but as the name suggests, it'd be a surefire way for him to be able to meet Mew as well. 3 episodes later and leaping toward the dream, Go would finally receive an invitation from the Project Mew staff to meet at Mount Coronet for his first Project Mew mission. Ash and Go are greeted by a man named Amaranth, who is the leader of Project Mew, but he directs him towards Danica, who is another member of the team. As the name might suggest, their objective is to find the mythical Pokemon Zarude. Well, obviously it's Mew, what else did you expect? They've gathered intel and believe that it's located on Table Mountain on Faraway Island. Before she gives out any more information as Mew, she says that it'll only be given to the 5 trainers who are selected as chasers, and there are already 2 confirmed chasers, that being her and another person named Quillin. Also, I just want to interject and say that their Japanese names are 10 times better, like Tsurugi and Asahi are way better than Danica and Quillin, but maybe that's just me. That leaves 3 spots open, and Go is eager to be one of those 3. But before he can even try to qualify for one, he has to pass a trial mission, and then he's able to do missions to earn tokens. Talk about a super convoluted process. His trial mission is to catch an Alolan Ninetales that's on an ice field near the mountain. Ash and Go head out and eventually Go is able to catch it after a lot of trouble. He's able to do so thanks to his friendly nature and understanding of Pokemon. At one point they run into a Regice, which gives Ash some trouble, but Quillin, the chaser mentioned before, is there to save the day with his Urshifu and he's able to catch it. It really shows that the chasers are not to be messed with and elite trainers on their own. With the capture of Alolan Ninetales, Go has successfully passed his trial mission and is now qualified to start earning tokens. So basically with these tokens, they are handed out after doing other similar missions, with a different number of tokens being handed out depending on the difficulty of the mission itself. These are a neat little homage to the Pokemon Go's field research, which makes sense since Go's name is clearly a play on that game. Similar to how we see Gary's mission being to collect the feather from a Moltres, Go's first mission was to collect scales from a shiny Volcarona. Ash and Go head to the Unova region and are able to do so rather easily, with the only trouble being some poachers that kind of put them in a pickle, but Danica and Quillin are there to help them out, with Danica revealed to have the other form of Urshifu and once again proving why they earned spots as chasers in the first place. Go earned 1 token for his efforts in this trial mission. His next mission was to locate a wild Kingdra and catch it. This brought him to the Hoenn region where he and Ash met up with the Elite Four member Drake, who fittingly owns one in the Pokemon Emerald games. Although the Kingdra did put up somewhat of a fight, Go's specialty is catching Pokemon after all, and eventually he got the Kingdra and earned himself his second Project Mew token. Pokemon Journeys episode 102, Battling in the Freezing Raid, has Go learned that his next mission has to do a raid battle against an Articuno, which disappoints him and leaves him feeling a bit unconfident as he doesn't really work well in teams. He has done a raid battle before against a giant Golurk, but this time it won't be as easy. In this episode we also get the reveal that Horus is also involved in Project Mew, and this is a trainer that Go had met early on in his adventures. Eventually in the Seafoam Islands, Go, Gary, Horus, and Ash stumble across legendary Pokemon, and the 4 of them engage in a raid battle against the legendary bird Frieza. No, not this Frieza, but this one. Okay, not this one either, this one. During the battle, Go's lack of teamwork shows, and it costs him the battle when it starts to affect him. They each get 3 tokens, but Gary gets an additional one for his leadership skills, and Horace gets an extra one for his dedication to teamwork. Go only ends with 3 here, but Danica tells him that Quillen used to be like him, and he was selfish in battle, but learned to improve, and that's why he's a chaser now, so Go should be able to bounce back and get his head in the game. For his penultimate trial mission, Go needs to go to Sea Mauville and engage in a battle royale where only the top trainers remaining will get Project Mew tokens. While Ash was able to help Go in all of his missions up until now, he was not allowed to enter into this one, but luckily for Go, Horace was there and they made a pseudo-alliance. They took on and defeated all of the trainers in the Sea Mauville until it was just them. In the end, Horace was able to defeat Go, which earned him 3 tokens, and Go was left with just 2. This episode also introduced us to 2 Project Mew rivals, those being Lila and Sterling, and since they finished 3rd and 4th, they were each awarded 1 token each. We get an updated look at the tokens as the missions are almost over, and Gary Oak is in the clear lead with 12, with 2nd going to Lila. Horace and Sterling are tied with 2 no-names with 8, and Go is at 7, meaning that he needs to pick up some more tokens if he actually wants to be a chaser. It was kinda cool that one of the guys that tied with Go is actually in this episode though. I always love those kind of little details. Finally, the time has come for Go to have his final trial mission. It's his last chance to become a chaser, and he gets a choice to pick for his final mission, and he decides to go with catching Regieleki and Regidrago. This is a really fun trial mission that saw him teaming up with Gary and working on his teamwork skills. The other rivals, Lila and Sterling, are here and give them trouble, but honestly they were no match for the duo of Go and Gary and were swiftly defeated. After a hard battle that saw Gary and Go low-key become besties, they both successfully captured the Regis and earned themselves 3 tokens apiece. Outside of the ruins, they send out their new Regis, and Quillen is there to show off the other Regis that he's been catching, and all 5 of them are next to each other when we see a massive surge of Dynamax energy in the distance, and we see a Dynamax Regigigas. This thing was shown in the intro for so many episodes, and what's the conclusion with it? Well, that's it. We never saw it again. A super huge letdown, and one of my biggest gripes with Project Mew as a whole. How epic would a Gary, Go, Danica, and Quillen team up to defeat the Regigigas in a raid battle been? They just show it, and forget about it. The chasers have finally been selected, and in first place with 15 tokens is Gary. In second place with 11 is Horace. And the final chaser with 10 tokens is Go. He did it. Just barely, but he did it. Now with the chasers ready, it's time to fast forward to Pokemon Journeys episode 133, The Mew from Here. The squad goes towards where they think Mew might be when they're attacked by a Swampert, but Horace sends out his Virizion, which is revealed to have been caught in his final trial mission. The group gets split up, and they are now faced against a Groudon and a Kyogre. The members work together to defeat these Pokemon, with Grookey being the MVP using his Wood Hammer on the Kyogre in a desperate situation. And it turns out that it was a disguised Mew all along. Mew teleports onto a glowing floating rock at the center of the area, and as Go approaches it, suddenly he has a crazy vision. After he snaps out of it, he confirms with the other chasers, and they all also saw the same vision. They then begin a raid battle against the Mew, and they keep sending out Pokemon after Pokemon just for Mew to easily defeat them all. It is at this moment where Go draws inspiration from Ash and stands in the way of the Pokemon and tells Mew how much of an inspiration Mew has been to him. This touches Mew as it stops firing its Hyper Beam and instead heals all of the Pokemon that it hurt in the battle and then teleports the chasers to the foot of the mountain. When Go raises his hand to do his usual "the future's in the palm of my hand" catchphrase, Mew just suddenly appears on his palm, which means he kinda caught it, right? This just further motivates Go going forward and gives him more determination than ever. And you know what? I actually kinda like this ending. They found what they set out to find and got as close to being to Mew as any other trainer in the Pokemon universe could ever hope to get. However, there are quite a few things that would have changed about the overall Project Mew as a whole. For starters, it would have been fun to see more old characters return to be in Project Mew. Gary coming back for it was huge, and he was definitely the highlight for me, but it would have been fun to see Alon carry a similar role, or maybe a Pokemon Ranger from the Diamond and Pearl series. I don't know, just more potential chasers, even if none of them actually went on to be a final chaser. While we're at it, why not just introduce Lila and Sterling earlier and have them be a legitimate threat to Go becoming a chaser? Journeys had a fair amount of filler episodes, and I truly think that they could have gone away with a few of them and given us more trial missions. Go only did 6, and they were all completed. He should have definitely failed some trial missions and done some on his own. All of his tokens were either thanks to Ash, Gary, or Horace, or all 3, which kind of takes away credit from Go. They could have squeezed a few more so he can lose some, do some on his own, etc. My biggest gripe is the Regigigas tease. Like, seriously, I wanted to battle that thing. How cool would it have been to see Brandon just come back with his set of Regis and team up with the Chasers to take this thing down? Journeys brought back a lot of old characters, and Brandon was a pretty big one that never got the chance to return. Also, they should have definitely had like Regieleki, Regidrago, and Virizion to use against Mew in their final battle, since those were the Pokemon that the Chasers caught in their final trial mission. But overall, I really enjoyed Project Mew. It was fun, it gave Go purpose, and they left it open-ended. In fact, Professor Amaranth even told the Chasers that they are welcome to return as Chasers the next time they go on an expedition. Wait, remember when we all thought Professor Amaranth would have been evil? Yeah, that would have been cool too.